favourite moments in the old movie Spinal Tap. You know, have you seen Spinal Tap? Very, very good film. This bit.
Hundreds of years before the dawn of history, there's an ancient race of people, the Druids. No one knows who they were or what they were doing, but their legacy remains. Hewn into the living rock of Stonehenge.
Brilliant. Yes, Stonehenge. Stonehenge. I've never been to Stonehenge. Have you? We don't have a Stonehenge here in Ireland. Or do we? Something mysterious has happened in County Meath near Newgrange. And to tell us more from the organisation Mythical Ireland, it's Anthony Murphy. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Great. On cloud nine, actually.
I'd say you are. This is like Christmas.
Yeah.
This is like Christmas for you, really, Anthony, because you sent a drone up recently around the Newgrange area and you discovered something quite remarkable, a henge.
Yeah.
What is a henge, firstly, please, Anthony?
A henge is a very large ceremonial enclosure built probably in the late Neolithic, early Bronze Age, so sometime around maybe 4,500 years ago.
Right.
They were made, it seems, with timber posts in sort of circular shapes.
Yeah.
They vary in their design and layout. We don't know precisely what their purpose or nature was, but we suspect they were for some sort of large gatherings, whether that was a ceremonial or a ritual thing.
Okay, so it's just the nature of its layout, and I suppose would also other implements or things that you would have found might suggest that it was used for something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we're talking about a very large monument, something that's about 200 metres in diameter, and a huge amount of manpower and labour and time and effort would have gone into its construction. And it is one of several henges in the Bend of the Boyne area. And in fact, we're told yesterday by an archaeologist that the Boyne Valley now has the largest concentration of late Neolithic henges in the whole world.
That's amazing. It really, really is.
Quite incredible, yeah.
When you think about the evolution of Irish society, people who've lived on this island and all the rest of it, it's really quite remarkable. You know, people often talk about the pyramids in Egypt and all the rest, but this is, I mean, this, and already Newgrange is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Anthony, how did the heat wave enable its discovery?
Well, this is a remarkable thing, Joe. This is an enormous monument, or the footprint of a monument, I should say, the remnant that has become visible purely because of the drought. This thing has never been seen before. It was previously unrecorded. And the only reason it's visible in such stark detail now is connected with the way the archaeological features in the ground retain whatever trace moisture is left after the long drought. And what happens is the crop that is growing out of the archaeological features is taking that residual water and is slightly healthier than the crops that are growing out of the soil all around it. Yeah. And hence what you get is a greener crop growing out of the archaeology and a yellower, sort of more dying crop in the surrounding field. And what we're seeing is an image of this monument on the top of the crop. It's really quite remarkable. It's
absolutely bonkers now that you've just explained it. It really is. It's brilliant as well, and there's some nice pictures online. Is it on private land?
It is, yes.
So how does that work in terms of access?
Well, the way it works in general is that if you wish to access somebody's land, whether it's to view an archaeological monument or for other purposes, you have to ask for their permission, you know. So.
Okay.
And obviously I would advise people not to go trespassing onto private farmland. Farmers are trying to make a living from the land, and they're finding it very difficult at the moment because we had a very long winter, and now we're having a hot summer. They're finding it, they've had a tough time of it, you know.
And no spring.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
Anthony, you've been studying archaeology at the Boyne Valley for years and years. Is this the most remarkable thing you've encountered?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I'll tell you, Joe, if you had said to me a few years ago, you're going to discover something fairly significant in the Boyne Valley. I mean, you have to understand, this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has been subject to intense scrutiny by various archaeological surveys and, imaging projects over the last couple of decades. I would have thought that everything that had been there to be discovered has already been discovered. And in fact, a project in 2010, the Instar project, recorded something like 200 new archaeological monuments or features that may be monuments. So I would have thought everything that was there was already discovered. And to say that something this enormous and of such significance, I mean, this is very significant because your listeners should understand that this is not a monument like Newgrange. Henges and enclosures are a very different type of monument. Newgrange and Newt and Dave are very much exclusive chambers where a very small number of people can fit in. The henges seem to have placed the focus much more on an open-air gathering of sorts, and we're told that a henge of this size could contain within its perimeter anything up to 2,000 people in a gathering.
Wow.
Incredible.
It's brilliant. Well, I'm delighted for you. Well done. And it is a great day for you, and it's just brilliant for the cultural heritage of this country, and no doubt it'll just strengthen the Boyne Valley and all that area as a premium tourist destination for Irish tourists and abroad. Yeah, absolutely.
I should give a mention, Joe, to Ken Williams, who is a photographer of ancient sites, who we happened to meet together. We hadn't planned to meet, and we were both flying the drones, who shared in this discovery.
Okay.
Ken is a Drogheda man like myself, and we've both been photographing and studying the monuments for, well, probably the last couple of decades, to be honest, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's excellent stuff. It's great news. Anthony, thanks a million for talking to us this morning.
Thanks for having me on, Joe.
No problem at all. Anthony Murphy from Mythical Ireland, and there's more about that on the website. Is that open the blog? It will be anyway, says I. Today.